Alright YouTubes, how we doing? I hope you're all well and welcome back to the channel. Today's video we've got a little bit of a rare beast in. It's a Ford Transit, and I don't know if you call them STs or sport van, but they didn't make many of these. I think it's a Transit sport van, I think it's called, not an ST, but it's sort of ST styling. So yeah, it's about 2007. Yeah, they're quite rare. I don't think they made many of these. Maybe 400 or something like that. So yeah, they're quite a rare van. They're great vans. I think they look great when they come out. I remember when they come out, and yeah, it's a funky looking van, and this one's in pretty good condition. It's not too bad. The guy that owns it, he's had it from new, and it's only got 59,000 miles, which is good. And it seems to be pretty good on rust as well, because he's obviously quite prone for rusting. But yeah, that's the van. Performance blue, which always looks good. It's always a good colour, performance blue. And the damage we've got to do is on this door, the side loading door, and a little bit on this quarter panel. We have done a bit of work to this van before. He had all the kit was ragged off of it, the side skirts and stuff, so we managed to get a whole new kit set, and we painted and fitted that. And we did paint this door last time, but we're gonna repair and paint this door. It's in a fair bit, but I think that's going to pop a lot of that when I'm just going to get the sucker on it, I think, and just see if that pop, which I think it will, without taking the trim out. And I'm just going to paint this door up to here and paint this side panel again. There's a little bit of variation in colours here, and yeah, there's a few marks and stuff around it, so we're not going to be blending it or anything like that. Just go edge to edge with the colour. So yeah, that's it. A little bit different, bit of a different vehicle to what we normally work on, a bit of a rare one. And yeah, on this video I'm going to record the repairing stage and the prepping and the painting, I think. Who knows, eh? We'll see what I record. So yeah, that's it. That being said, I'll set the camera up and start pulling this door out. And YouTube's this video is going to be the repair stage on this job. Obviously I do not just painting, but I do the repair, so I want to try and mix it up a little bit and show repair stages as well, because it's just as important as the paint. You know, if I just keep showing paint work and spraying, it could get a bit boring, so I'm just trying to mix it up, and I could talk you through repair staging. So any job that comes in, we always I just give it a water degreaser and then a solvent degreaser to clean it all up, see the damage a bit clearer, and then address how I'm going to do it. I'm not a panel beater by trade. I've done my apprenticeship, I've done both. I've done panel and paint, and then when I left that job, after I completed my apprenticeship, most of the places I worked, I was just a painter. And then since I've been on my own, I've done little bits of panel. I've sort of had to learn, and I'm still learning on it. And I do enjoy the panel. It's more of a challenge, but I do enjoy it. So just to start this job off, I'll just use a Power Tech sucker on there, and that popped that straight out, which was handy, just to get that bulk of it out. They're a bit, you know, commercial vehicles, side loading doors, they're always getting hit. They're normally heavy damage, and they can be quite flexible, and they can stretch quite a bit, which can be a bit of a pain. They can be a bit of a pain to repair. They are expensive, side loading doors on commercials. I found Transits, the newer Transits, they're expensive. The Transporters, they're expensive side loading doors. So you do always have quite big repairs to do on them, because of the cost of what the new ones are. You've got a bit of leniency on commercial vehicles as well for it, you know, if you've got a few discrepancies in how flat they are, because they're quite you know, commercial panels are not the straightest anyway. So you do have a little bit of leniency with your repairs. But I don't mind doing commercials, and it's sort of big flats normally on commercials as well, so not too complicated shapes. So I just grind all the paint off and the areas that I want to pull first. There's other areas I like to see the dent in the paint finish still, so I just grind off the bulk areas that I want to start pulling. So I started with the top on this job and just using the GYS spot puller on a low setting, sort of number 2 setting, and just start pulling that crease that was sort of quite deepish, that crease. Start pulling the bulk of that out just to get the majority of out. And the idea is not to pull it too far, you know, because one, the metal's going to stretch anyway, which becomes a pain for you because it's either too high or it's too low. Sometimes you think, oh, I may as well just put filler in it from the off, really. So yeah, just take the time really when I do panel work. Keep feeling, keep making sure, don't put too much. It's easy to over pull on these GYSs, and yeah, you know, in areas get some tension on a low where there's a high next to it, and then you can sort of put it under tension and tap down them highs and try and get it all to level without stretching it too much. That's the thing. When, especially on the larger panels in these commercials, if the metals, if you pull it out too high and it's, you know, it's quite a deepish dent anyway or crease, and then you pull it too high the other way, then you're definitely stretching the metal, and then it just pops in and out. It's a pain. So I'm just using a flipper on there. I call it a flipper. People call them slappers as well. But yeah, I'm just using that. It sort of shrinks a little bit. It's sort of grated on the back, so it helps just to pinch the metal a little bit, just to reduce the stretching a little bit. And you got a bit of a flat surface area as well to try and get it down. So yeah, I start with that top dent. That wasn't too difficult, that top dent. And yeah, just you want to try and get as much metal up as possible to keep your filler as thin as possible. But sometimes I find as well that I can go over the top trying to get every little bit of it out, and then I make it too high, and too high is worse than being too low. At least when it's too low, you got filler to try and to level it out. So yeah, got that top out, pretty happy with that. So I'm just marking the feature line, because that feature line was squashed. It ran across that, all the way across that feature line, and just humped it up above it. It wasn't deep, but you know, that's obviously a feature line in a panel that keeps that panel rigid. It was just squashed all the way along there, and I probably could have just tacked down high above it. Just checking that top for level with a straight edge, just seeing where my highs and lows are. As soon as you put a straight edge on there, if it starts rocking, you know that area where it's touching the straight edge is a little bit high, and I noticed it was a little bit high through the middle there. And yeah, just give that another slap just to put that metal down a little bit more, and that was fine. So cross this feature line now. Just going to weld the wiggly wire on there so I can get a bit of a bigger pull than just spotting it all the way along. You could spot it all the way along, but I want to try and pull a larger area and get that under tension, so then I can just tap that ridge this all the way along that feature line, tap that ridge down above it. And as you tap that ridge and put the feature line under tension, the feature line will just give and go, and pretty much, and the metal will sort of go back to its shape. You know, metal has a sort of, it's got a bit of memory. If you manipulate it in the right places, it will go back to where it was originally. So yeah, just put wire all the way across that feature line. That's how much of that feature line is squashed down. And then yeah, a little bit of heat on the metal always softens it up a little bit and helps it to move. Helps it to move easier without having to, you know, attack it as aggressively. Oh, bless you, sir. and you can have a little bit more control if you put a bit of heat into the metal. And just putting the claw slide hammer on there, and then yeah, just start manipulating it out while it's a little bit warm, and then while it's under tension, tap that ridge above it, and the feature line sort of pops out as you're tapping the ridge. We'll just work that out all the way along that feature line, keep going along until I get that feature line back to roughly where it should be, and then yeah, keep putting a bit of heat into it, get it nice and warm, and helps manipulate it. Like I say, it gives you a little bit more control. You know, they're quite flexible, these skins. It's quite a large skin, and I didn't take out anything on the inside to see whether bracing. There'll be some bracing in there with you know, some bonding sealer holding it, and I don't think it broke away, but you can see the whole skin starts to move. And then yeah, just on the last bit of the feature line now, just using the flipper or the slapper, whatever you want to call it, just to sort of shrink it a little bit as well, and get that feature line where it should be. Now I'm just manipulating all the low spots that are in that lower part of the damage. It is actually stretched in there, so it's creased all the way along that lower feature line, and sort of bulged out a little bit at the back end of where my grinding marks finish, and then it was sort of bowed in the middle of that door as well. So just getting the tension out of the skin now along that feature line. It's quite solid along there, so yeah, just a bit of pulling with a spot puller to pull all that. It's not really flexing about too much, but where my hand is now, where I'm rubbing, it's stretched, so it starts popping in and out. You can see above that, bit above the skin there, there's like a bow in it as well. So even though there's a few multiple bits of damage, it's sort of, on a big skin like that especially, it affects the whole shape of the skin when you look across it, which is you've got to just work your way through the little areas of damage, getting the tension off in areas, and yeah, and start trying to manipulate, and then some of the skin will start coming back. So putting a straight edge across there, as you can see, it's rocking in that middle. So now I'm using the heat shrinker attachment, and getting some heat into that area to stiffen that panel right up, and then when I do hit it and slap it back down with my hammer and the flipper, it doesn't pop straight in. Then I've got a bit more to go against with it all heat shrunk and stiffened up, and yeah, it all went down quite nice. There was a couple of low spots, so I had to leave the lows in there. Otherwise you're just there for ages messing about trying to get it a perfect ideal level for filler. That was good enough. So yeah, once I heat shrunk that, got that hump out of it, DA'd round it with 120 grit on the DA, and I just put my first skim of filler in, which is it's Rage Gold is the filler. So I use the Evercoat fillers, Rage Gold and Rage Ultra. So yeah, get one good skim in over the whole lot. So on a bigger repair like this, I'll get one good skim in over the whole lot, get that all blocked out then, and then I'll see where my lows are then. So yeah, just get that skim in as smooth as I can. It's not totally smooth, and then yeah, get the guide coat on there, and then just 80 grit now on the block. Always use just an old bit of 80 grit off the bat, because it will clog up a little bit. It's a little bit sort of greasy, the top surface of that filler. It's not the easiest to rub, but you can fill quite deep dents with it. The gold, it's more of your traditional type filler. So now I've got it on the bigger block, which is Pinker's block, which are really good. I highly recommend Pinker's blocks. They're great. I really like them. They've got a good bit of flex in them, and I've got some good repairs out. So yeah, just 80 grit in the whole lot off the bat. Pretty much the top I've got in one skim. It's almost there. but you can see there's a bit of metal poking out at the bottom there, which I tap back down, and there's a low there. So now just put another skim of gold in, just in the low area, just to bulk that up a little bit. Give that again with 80 grit, transition that in. I like to keep the same make of filler throughout the repair if I can. Try not to mix and match too much. Just put that feature line in, got that to where I need it straight wise. They're not a massively sharp feature line on this, but I do get it sharper. And then yeah, got that in. That's 2 skims with the gold, and then just using the Rage Ultra, which is a bit of a finer filler, bit of a smoother filler, It rubs a lot easier than the gold. It's sort of like almost like a glaze. It goes on like a glaze, but it has got quite good filling properties depth wise. And yeah, just use that as a transition coat, just to get in any small imperfections and get my line in better. So I just finish off with that, and then straight off the bat with that's 120 grit. So yeah, straight over the gold, and then start blocking that off with 120 grit. Just keep the block straight all the time for the majority of it. Just go up and down across each section that I'm rubbing, and just try and keep that direction in one direction to start off with, just to get it as straight as I can, and having a bit of a finer filler, putting less pressure on the panel. You're not pushing the panel. If you're pushing the panel while you're blocking it, then your blocks follow in the contour of the metal that you're pushing. You need less pressure, so it's better to get a finer filler at the end and not too much pressure, so the block could just guide across the shape of that panel without, as soon as you start pushing it in, you're just going to have wobbles in your filler where the metal's flexing. And yeah, again 120 grit across the top, just to tie it all in and fill in any pinholes and stuff like that. And yeah, then sort of towards the end, still on the 120 grit, I'll start doing some circles and a bit of diagonal blocking, and a bit of a variety of up and down circles, just to sort of bring the filler in as you feel it on the downstroke, to bring that in. And yeah, transition it all in nice. And then yeah, just bit of tape there, shut the door, married it up with the feature lines either side of it, bit of tape, and then finished all that in 180 grit. And then yep, just sanding around it now with 180 grit, just get all my filler scratches out in the paintwork that's around it. There's 180 grit, and then I'd go over it again with 240 grit, just tidying up that feature line with a little bit of 240 grit with some excess filler on there, and then the rest a little bit of paint that is left on that panel, just with 320 grit, just to get it in primer. Little bit of grey scotch around it. I'm only painting that door up to that feature line. Good blow off. Always want to give your filler a really good blowout. You don't want any filler dust trapped in any little micro pinholes and stuff, because they will blow up later on after the job's painted down the line if you've got dust sat in any filler. So you just want to blow it out as much as possible. You don't really want to put any cleaners or degreasers or anything over your filler if you can help it, because it is porous. And yeah, just getting it masked up for primer. I'm doing a hard edge on the first part of that feature line that I'm on for the primer, and then I'll do my soft edge on the paint as that feature line goes in to the top half of that door, if you see what I'm saying. So I'll get a masking line for the primer there. It gives me a little bit of scope for a soft edge a bit further in there, so I'm not putting the same edge for the paint as well as the primer. And yeah, bit of paper all around it. Need a little bit more height there. I'm not built for commercials with my height, so yeah, I do struggle on reaching on commercials. And yeah, just putting a 2-pack primer on it now. It's a MIPA 4+1. I went for a darkish grey colour, being performance blue can be a little bit transparent, so I put 4 coats, or well, 3.5 coats. The first coat is not a full wet coat, it's more of a half coat, just to dry quickly, and doesn't pick up any edges as much with all the transitions and paints and fillers. Give that a little lamp off just to cure that off a little bit, and then this 3 full wet coats, and then lamp that off. So yeah, that's it for this video. This is just the repair stage. Thought I don't just do painting, I do repairs, and it's all part of the job. I don't want to be just showing paintwork and spraying all the time. I get a bit bored with it, you may get bored with it, so I'd like to try and mix it up. If you found it interesting, great. I'll just give you my experience and my take on doing panel repairs. There's so many aspects to this job. The painting is the final part of this job, but as we all know, there's a lot more to it than just the paint, with the preparation and the repair. And we don't do structural repairs here. I haven't got the equipment, and I'm not experienced enough to do structural. So yeah, there's another whole aspect to car body repairs, and not just the paint and not just the panel. What I'm doing, cosmetic panel, there's structural and all that as well. So yeah, trying to mix it up a bit for you, show you a repair stage. There's going to be, this is part 1, there'll be part 2 coming out after this video, that I'll show you the painting and the final results of it all. So yeah, hope you found it interesting and a little bit different, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and please like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff, and we'll see you again in the next one.